Hello and welcome to the UMGC ID Project Management Final Exam Roundtable discussion. Today is December 9th, 2025. My name is Mehwish Ashraf and I will be hosting this discussion. I have been joined by Ronnie. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate the time for joining me in this presentation. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. And
Good, good.
yourself?
It's I'm good as well. It's good to finally having talked to you and connect like this. It's beautiful.
Yes.
Um, so essentially in this meeting, we'll be discussing a few major concepts from the past 11 weeks of our IT project management course. So I will be focusing on four core areas. One of them is IT project management context, leadership and project skills, project control and risk management, and communication with people, different diverse teams.
Right.
Now, I chose these topics essentially because they resonated with me the most throughout the course and absolutely helped deepen my understanding of how successful projects are planned, led, and delivered. I was especially drawn to the topic of communicating effectively with diverse teams because, as someone currently working in donor relations, communication is an essential part of my role. And I just focused mostly in my role on communicating with different people and having them donate to our organization. So, communication is definitely a very important part of my everyday dealings, as well as I have different communities, so a lot of diverse groups that I deal with every day.
Yeah.
At the end of this project, I will also conclude by connecting these concepts to a real world project, and that will help us demonstrate the practical application of these concepts. Context of IT project management. IT project management begins with understanding project's context. This includes the project's strategic purpose, alignment with the organization's mission, and constraints such as scope, time, and quality. Now, Olson 2014 emphasizes that human factors play a critical role, especially communication and team collaboration. Collaboration across departments is essential because IT projects often require cross functional expertise. Now, when we talk about human factors and communication, we know that communication is consistently identified as a top factor in project success or failure. We all know that poor communication leads to unmet expectations and confusions and unnecessary rework. Tools like communication plans, stakeholder matrices like power interest grid or power predictability metrics, and even RACI charts help formalize communication and clarify responsibilities. I personally loved learning about the RACI charts, and I even went ahead and had it implemented in my team.
Nice.
Because, just really being able to identify who does what, like who's responsible for a certain task or maybe a set of responsibilities, and who is to be held accountable if something goes
Exactly.
wrong. Yeah, so
That
it's
means
it's
he is
like an
disciplined during the
interesting.
project.
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I was just talking in between.
Oh no, I said that actually, being able to tell who is doing what and assign roles actually, helps keep the project in line. It helps
Absolutely.
us to, know who to hold accountable and stuff.
Yeah, and especially like being able to consult with someone if things are not working out for you. And a lot of times just being informed, because there had been like certain projects where I was not really informed on different I would say different parts of it, or I things were not communicated to me in a different way. So I had to just went ahead and discussed with my team that we need to have an RACI communication plan, just so that we know that who actually has to be informed, and of course that who was myself, because at times things would happen certain way and I wouldn't be informed, and then things wouldn't go as planned. So it
Right.
really did help me in my current role to go ahead and implement this strategy. It was super helpful. And
Nice.
according to Barry 2012, Emotional intelligence also helps leader manage conflict, motivate teams, as well as build trust. So the project team and PM book knowledge areas. We know that PM Books has 10 knowledge areas, essentially scope management, schedule management, cost, quality, risk, procurement, resources integration, stakeholder management, and communications management. And these really provide structure for managing complex IT projects. Successful teams require clearly defined roles, accountability, and strong leadership and transparency and active collaboration help team members address changes and challenges pretty quickly. Now, project management skills and leadership, when we talk about these, it's mostly that effective project managers, they have an ability to balance technical knowledge with
Mhm.
soft skills such as communication, negotiation, and problem solving. Different leadership styles, like maybe transformational or situational leadership, help guide teams during uncertainty and change. On the other hand, the organization's structure, for example, functional, matrix, or projectized, it affects resource availability and
Mhm.
reporting lines. And we also have different methodologies like waterfall, agile, and hybrid influence how work is planned and executed. Now, as we were like progressing through this course, it was really interesting to see. I absolutely did not know. I don't know about you, but I didn't know these terms beforehand. And at some point, we were directly or indirectly in every job role that I have had, or maybe like even other volunteership roles or other different areas of my life, I have directly or indirectly applied all of these things, but I didn't know that there were names to all of these. So,
Yeah,
like,
you're not alone because
yeah,
yeah, I learned a lot of these new words too and from this class.
for me particularly, I was researching like, okay, organizational structures. Okay, so this is it, this is it, this is it. Oh, in my that job, I used to follow the functional organizational structure. And I just figured out that in my current role, I actually follow like my organization follows matrix organizational structure. And it was like really nice to see to kind of just like put names to everything that was going on in your work life. So I found it to be like really useful and interesting.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about the project organization and IT development methodologies. So, agile methodologies, they emphasize flexibility, continuous feedback, and iterative delivery, whereas the waterfall methodologies provide a structured, linear approach that works well for stable, predictable projects. High project control and assessment. Project control involves tracking progress against baselines for scope, schedule, and cost. Earned value management, EVM, offers objective insight into schedule and cost performance, whereas regular assessments help identify deviations early so corrective actions can be taken before issues escalate. Risk identification and analysis. Now, this is like something I find to be really, really important. Identifying risks. A lot of times we just get to those later stages and we do not even know that certain things were actually a risk, or sometimes we just decide to ignore those. We know
Exactly.
it's coming, know it's a risk, but we just decide to kind of ignore them until the very end when things have really
When we
fallen
have
out of
to, we
place.
have to, yes, we have to face the consequences.
Absolutely. Yep. And I have done this way too many times in my life. So definitely learned my lesson. Even in my personal life, I'm like, I knew the risks. Why did I do that? But well, what can we do? So
Yeah.
so yeah. So risk management essentially starts with early identification through tools like simply brainstorming, checklists, and risk breakdown structures. We then analyze risks using qualitative techniques such as probability impact matrices or quantitative methods for high priority risks. This process helps determine which risks need immediate development of response strategies. Now, in terms of risk response and monitoring, once risks are analyzed, we select strategies including avoidance, mitigation, transfer, or acceptance. Risks must be appropriately documented and must be updated throughout the project lifecycle. Continuous monitoring ensures that new risks are identified early and existing risks are managed effectively. Communication and working with people. So, communication planning is essential to ensure that the right information reaches the right people at the right time. It
Yeah.
must be planned and intentional. And as I mentioned, that I have always been working with diverse teams. So for me, I always say this that diverse teams bring varied perspectives. And working in diverse teams encourages creativity and enhances problem solving. Project ethics, such as fairness, confidentiality, and transparency, guide decision making and build trust among stakeholders. See, so when we talk about diverse teams and working in a multicultural environment, um, it does have a lot of benefits, but it also comes with a lot of considerations that are to be made. And I have always seen that multicultural teams bring diverse perspectives, but they also require cultural awareness and sensitivity. And leaders, especially when we're like project managers and we're in an environment where we have people from all different cultures, it's very important that the leaders should be able to address language differences, communication styles, and participation barriers. Inclusive leadership builds psychological safety and team cohesion. Now, in terms of a real world example, I decided to choose healthcare system IT upgrade. And almost throughout the course, I focused on healthcare systems because I recently started working in a nonprofit environment, but before that, I used to work in a healthcare world. And I experienced it firsthand when our office was transferring from paper records to more often electronic health records data.
Mm.
And because I got to experience that firsthand, I know that there were several challenges and we had to constantly go through making adjustments. And it's funny, I didn't know what methodology we had decided to follow earlier and what methodology we were following later on. I didn't really have names to put to it. Um, but I figured that as we started to switch to our systems, it was a major update for us. And we started out with the waterfall method. So kind of just like linear, there was a straight plan. We knew what we were gonna do, and kind of just like a step to step, what we had in our mind, we were like, okay, this is how it's gonna be, and that's what's gonna follow. But unfortunately, it didn't work out the way it was supposed to, and or at least how we thought. And then we had to shift to a more agile methodology. So kind of just like, following an iterative process and making the changes as needed. So that
Right.
definitely helped us out. Um, Definitely had a lot of changes in the process. While the agile methodology definitely helped us maintain the flexibility, we faced a lot of issues with training our staff, and there was definitely a risk of downtime, and we did actually experience it quite a few times. And we also had a lot of resistance from our stakeholders, essentially from our doctors and as well as from our front desk staff and even the patients themselves, because people are
Mm.
not very adaptive of technology, and at least they were not as adaptive at that time as compared to how we are seeing ourselves today.
Yeah, a lot of people don't like change.
Yeah, yeah, and
Yeah.
and and it was a very heavy change, right? Like we were just not
Yeah.
used to of technology as much.
Technology is good. Not
Yeah,
always though.
Yeah, not always, but it's like the shift was definitely something that I thought people were not ready to make. And in fact, my husband, he's still like, I'll just go and fill out a form at the doctor's office. Don't send me those reminder messages and things like that. And I'm like, the world is
You
changing.
could you could just do that on the video call.
Yeah, yeah. He's like,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go and get it done over there with. I'm like, no, things are changing. We gotta adapt ourselves. So, it's something. But yeah, and definitely strong leadership and communication strategies helped us overcome these challenges and leading to a successful adoption, not to forget about the laws and everything that was changing very significantly. So we absolutely had to adopt with it. But definitely leadership played a crucial role as well as the communication was very helpful in between our teams. Okay, so now this is the summary and the key takeaway slide, and this slide took a lot of my effort. Just I just tried my best to organize everything all together, and I hope you enjoy it. Just to kind of summarize, so it summarizes the key factors that contribute to successful IT project management and how they directly influence project outcomes. So, in terms of leadership and skills, effective leadership plays a major role in guiding teams through change and complexity. Leaders who use transformational or situational leadership styles help motivate their teams, provide clarity during uncertainty, and ensure that everyone stays aligned with project goals. In terms of communication, structured communication is equally critical. Having a clear communication plan ensures that the stakeholders remain informed and aligned, and tools like RACI charts, status reports, and regular check ins help reduce misunderstandings and prevent conflicts before they escalate. Proactive risk management protects project objectives by identifying risks early and continuously monitoring them. Project managers can prevent delays, control costs, and reduce the chance of project failure. This is typically done using risk registers and mitigation strategies. Now, choosing the right project methodology is also very important. It makes execution more efficient. For example, agile environment works well for changing environments, and waterfall fits the structured projects, and hybrid models offer flexibility when both approaches are needed. Team collaboration, we know that finally, basically, strong team collaboration enhances innovation and problem solving. Diverse teams bring different perspectives, and by promoting clear communication, inclusivity, and shared accountability, project teams perform more effectively. Together, these factors create a strong foundation for delivering successful IT projects on time, within scope, and within budget, which is a very important factor when it comes to the IT projects.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, this is just a simple conclusion that effective leadership and clear communication form the foundation of successful IT project management. Proactive risk management safeguards project objectives by reducing uncertainty and preventing costly disruptions. Diverse and collaborative teams drive innovation and strengthen decision making while selecting the right project methodology, ensures efficient planning and execution. And here are the APS7 references. And yeah, so this is how I would like to conclude my final exam presentation for UMGC's IDEC 640 course. And thank you so much, Ronnie, for joining me for this roundtable discussion. I really appreciate your time. Do you have any questions for me?
No, none at the moment. The presentation was, it was well laid out. I especially admire the last slide that had like pretty much a summary of, everything, and that was really impressive.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you for joining me today. Thank you.